It was the week before a big deadline, and I was just doing some due diligence listening to the music that this model had produced. And there was an introduction of harmonic tension that we usually don't see when we see AI composing music. It feels very human. There's this very clear statement of the theme, and then it goes somewhere quite emotional. This development of themes is a sign that the model is able to understand patterns. And what we care about fundamentally at DeepMind is understanding patterns. We're trying to figure out the structure of the world so that we can reproduce it. When I was a kid, there was a lot of music in my life. I became fascinated with how it was made, where it came from. The dream was to become an artist, to make music, to make films. So I went to New York, and I worked in film for a couple of years. It was a wonderful time to explore, but science and philosophy had always been in the back of my head. At the time, I was reading Dan Dennett's Consciousness Explained. For me, it gave a path forward to how we understand the world, how we think and see the world. So I ended up transitioning to science. DeepMind was the dream, the cutting edge of research and AI. So I applied for a job. We built systems that can take inputs from any kind of data. This is like the past, and we're trying to predict the future. And can also produce outputs of any kind. The question is, like, what do we do with this text? More broadly speaking, how do we understand all the patterns that we see in the natural world? How do we build systems that can encapsulate and reproduce those patterns? This is your video. This is your audio. We want to build the ultimate collaborator, an artificial general intelligence system to understand all kinds of things at the same time. It's a library, but it's also a film critic. It's also an expert musician. Something that we can query for any kind of answer.
So as long as we don't split these into two separate sequences, that should be enough.
What we're ultimately trying to build are artificial intelligence systems that we can use as tools to solve problems that surpass the current state of human intelligence. One consistent pattern we've seen with technology is things that look borderline unimaginable are taken for granted by the subsequent generation. For me, it's impossible to conceive of a world where I couldn't reach a friend by phone at the drop of a hat. So I fully imagine the next generation is going to view artificial intelligence as just a natural part of the fabric of their world. It's going to become easier to express oneself, to make anything that we imagine.